All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the January 30th, 2026 working group meeting. We're going to start off today by giving our some new members a chance to introduce themselves. Looking off our list here for this week, I see that Dean Osmond is on the call. Dean, would you mind giving yourself a brief introduction?
Sure, sure. Very happy to be part of the group. And Dan, thanks for including me. So I'm Dean Osmond. I work for Boundless Accelerator. We are a business accelerator working with startups through funded programs. But where I sit under the Boundless Accelerator umbrella is that we have a distinct fee-for-service business consulting arm. So we have a distinct focus in agriculture and ag tech just because of the fact that we do exist in Guelph. I actually live in farm country down in Norfolk County, so I have the commute into Guelph a few times a week. Um, we are constantly looking for new innovative companies that we can help grow and scale and become much more successful, particularly in ag tech and in the agricultural sector. My reason for joining, I want to get a little more ingrained into the ecosystem, learn more about how we can further support, and for my own benefit, just learn more about the industry itself and how I can play a role in helping expand it.
Excellent. Sounds great. Thanks so much for joining us, Dean. We appreciate it. I also see Eric Lankin from Worker Tractors is on the call this morning. Eric, please go ahead and give the folks an introduction.
Hi there. Thanks for the opportunity to give an intro. Happy to be here. Last week was actually the first week I sat in on the presentation. I stepped on Worker Tractors just at the beginning of this year, so I'm still kind of new to the team, but basically based in Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, and building a self-driving tractor that uses the high precision GPS and then computer vision to drive the implements. And it's a pretty wonderful little product. It's sort of designed to be maximally affordable, while sort of built like the vintage tractors that might last forever. So it's a cool product, and it's probably getting pretty close to the last stages of its runway now. And so that's what we'll be working on for the next year or so is getting it actually produced. The founder is an engineer, so he's one of those guys that solved a whole bunch of the scaling issues right away before he even started the company. So it's kind of a cool project to be involved in. So yeah.
Excellent. Thanks so much, and we appreciate you being here. We have a few more on our list. However, I don't think I see any of them in the chat. If I've missed you
Oh,
or you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself yet, please let me know. Oh, I think I see Peter McCluskey.
Hi there.
Hi, Peter. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Would I be able to ask you to give a quick introduction of yourself? What brings you to the group
Oh,
here?
sure. So I'm with the Toronto Garlic Festival, which has been around since 2011, and we are a celebration of the garlic harvest at the end of September. It's a one-day festival. Last year we had 11,000 visitors. We have a large farmer component at the festival as vendors, and um, and I also have an interest in farming, and so I'm looking at, is there some connection where we could maybe promote um, some robotic implements for farmers. And also I worked as a intern on a farm for a year, an organic farm back in 2010. So I'm very familiar with hand weeding and I could see the benefits of robotic implements on especially organic farms. So I could say a professional plus personal interest in robotics in especially organic farming.
Excellent. That sounds great. Appreciate you taking the time to join and being here this morning.
Thank you.
I saw in the chat Matt Arts. is new as well. Matt, would you please say hello?
All right, thanks. Matt Arts. I'm with Libro Credit Union, and agriculture specialist is my role. So working with our larger farm and agribusiness, and then providing support to our other relationship managers, working with in the agricultural area. And yeah, I have a few years ago, I went out to one of the ag robotics tour days, and I never figured out how to get back to one. So at the MWAC, I was talking to some people how to get involved and uh, just learn more about it. I see robotics being well. I think it's pretty evident that it's the future of where things are going in agriculture, and I guess I just want to be kind of at the closer to the forefront of understanding what's all going on, and making sure that Libro is ready for all of this. So it's an exciting field.
Excellent. It sure is. We appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. Forgive me if I'm mistaken, Jim Beretta. Are you new here?
Sorry, my phone is on safe driving mode, so I'm not even sure you're hearing this or
We can
if you're
hear you.
seeing this. Okay, great.
We can hear
Uh,
you. We
so,
can't see you.
so my name is Jim Beretta, and I am in the robotics industry. I ex-ATS Automation Tooling Systems, which is in Cambridge, now living in London. And I just wanted to hop on and do some listening. So I just, so you all know, I'm a consultant to robotics and automation integrators and do a lot of content creation for that industry.
Excellent. Well, sounds great. We're happy to have you.
Jim's being pretty modest. He's also going to be one of our keynote speakers at the summit.
That's true.
Joining us, Jim. He's speaks all over North America. Has a has a podcast as well.
True.
So yeah, welcome, Jim. Thanks for sitting in.
Thank you for
And
the
I think Jim
invitation.
knows.
Excellent. Sounds great. Thanks so much, everybody. Um, was there anybody who I missed or who hasn't had the chance to introduce themselves before who would like to take the chance? No? All right, perfect. In that case, we can head on into the meat and potatoes of the meeting this week. So this week, Ashley and myself are going to sort of take the reins. It's been a while since we have a lot of new members, and it's been a while since we've given sort of a bit of a project update on the working group as a whole, a bit of a refresher on exactly who we are, what we do, and some of the involvement that we've got. So I'll pass things over to Ashley to get started, and and we'll head on into it.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm just sharing my screen here. Just give me one moment. And then, so thank you for the welcome, Dan. So today we want to kind of give a refresh of what we're trying to achieve with this group. There's a lot of new members since I've joined the 3 months ago. So we just want to give a little bit of refresher, a look back at what we've done in the last funding year, and then talk a little bit about how we could get feedback and improve the group as well, looking forward to next year. So today we will go into who we are, the overview of the group, the key areas of focus that will help us accomplish our goals, what research we funded in the last year, take a look at the events we did, and then we'll talk a little bit about feedback and some questions that this group has as well. So I'll introduce myself first. I'm Ashley Casselman, the Ag Robotics Project Manager. I am taking over from Bridget while she's on maternity leave. So I'll be here till about November. And then Dan, if you want to introduce yourself, I know I'm sure most people are aware of who you are.
most people, but
Yeah, not all.
yeah, I'm Dan Woods. I'm the project coordinator for the working group. So where we kind of differentiate is that Ashley handles most of the sort of big picture stuff, whereas I do a lot more of the day-to-day administration and operations of the group.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll jump right into it. So, a little bit about who the Ag Robotics Working Group is. We are now a network of over 530 members, and that compromises of different tech companies, farmers, producers, academics, agribusinesses, manufacturers, and other parties who really want to be part of the community and talk about robotics and agriculture and just be part of connecting that industry as well. So ultimately, our goal is to advance critical issues that are facing the industry, reduce barriers to the adoption of new technology, optimize production, and increase the competitiveness overall of Ontario in the agriculture industry. So what we do, we bring the industry together at our weekly calls like this, but also in-person events too. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit further in the presentation. We also want to provide open communication channels, so connecting those startup companies with producers who can potentially buy their technology and really just build that community, build that network together. And part of it is also transferring knowledge throughout the ecosystem. So not working in silos, but working as one industry together to build the success of the industry together. So we do that by connecting new technologies, as I said, with Ontario producers, showcase their technologies at demo events and trade shows, so people can really see what they can do live and in person. And then an important part of it also is sharing funding resources within the ag robotics ecosystem. So while we do have a little bit of funding dollars to support some research proposals, we also share in our weekly agendas other funding opportunities that are out there. We want to talk about who's been successful in obtaining funding as well and what was the challenges. Just having that open conversation each week as we build the industry together. And then we also want to assist companies with validating their technologies within Ontario's diverse production systems. So having hosting farm trials, different things like that to really test it before it goes to commercialization. So a little bit about how we started. The Ag Robotics Working Group began about 4 years, or I guess almost 5 years ago now in 2021, between three key industry leaders. So Chuck at Haggerty Ag Robotics, Ian McDonald, and Kristen Obeid from the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. And the group was really born out of sharing a shared need to address critical farming challenges. And the two that were at the front of it was increasing labor shortages and then also addressing growing weed resistance to herbicides. And then overall, we wanted to talk about and address a couple of different questions too. How do we best engage the skills and knowledge of those working in robotics to get them aware of, connected with opportunities in agriculture? We also wanted to have new companies coming to the market. They are not always field tested, which impacts the success of adoption. So how can we get the word of mouth out? How can we get them tested and help that industry? There's also less farm kids to fill the gap in labor. As older generations retire, there's a shift in generations in farming. So we want to ensure youth are engaged and they're aware of the opportunities in agriculture as well. And you don't always need a background in robotics or ag to have a transferable skill set. Youth in cities were also very far removed from agriculture. They're not always aware of that career choice. So we wanted to ensure that's not a barrier to enter the agriculture industry. So you don't always have to come from a farm to work in the farming and agriculture industry in the long run. Farm systems were also becoming more and more sophisticated, and there's a gap emerging in people who have the knowledge in ag, but also the tech knowledge to be able to fix them. So how Dan and I both work for Western Fair, and how Western Fair came involved is we're one of Canada's largest and oldest agriculture societies. So we're a multifaceted, not-for-profit agriculture society, and we support the agriculture community with programming and facilities. So how we really became involved is we want to be part of the conversation. We want to support the agriculture community. So we um, wanted to align with the working group's goal of bridging the gap between urban and rural agriculture and innovation. So what Western Fair provided was a physical home and staffing for the group to build. So this allowed the working group to move from informal field tests to a more structured organization. And then in September 2023, the working group was formalized into this member-driven association with Western Fair serving as the official project manager, which is how you see Dan and I on these weekly calls building out the in-person demo events as well. And then the group further integrated with Western Fair as we built out our Innovation Farms Ontario project, which included partnerships with Haggerty, RH Ventures, and then also having funding provided by the Sustainable Canadian Agriculture Partnership. So really, this group's success lies within our partners with RH Ventures, Haggerty, the Ontario government, the federal government, the Sustainable Canadian Agriculture Partnership as well. All of these partners have allowed us to build, really relied on their expertise, and they've been very pivotal to moving this network together and building it. Okay, Dan, I'll hand it over to you to kind of go over some of our numbers from the last year.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the moment, we are currently at 532 total members, which we're very happy about. We had sort of a, goalposts in mind for when the group started, and the we've almost doubled what we were hoping to have by the end of the entire project. So we're very happy with how much reach we've been able to acquire. Last season, we funded 5 different research proposals. We attended 22 events, whether it was ourselves or some partner companies representing us on our behalf. So, more than one event a month. Definitely almost 2 events every month is pretty good. Of course, with our weekly meetings, we hosted 50 webinars. We did a video shoot, the first one we've ever done for the virtual career fair that we took place in, which, as you can see by the number below there, this year we've reached over 14,000 different students. So we were very happy with that. That is a combination of the virtual career fair as well as in-person career fairs that we attended. We hosted 2 demo days in the summer, which were well attended, well received. And those 14,000 students went across 27 different school boards in Ontario. So overall, we think we've had a lot of great reach. Of course, thank you to our members for helping to make that possible. And we're really excited to see how that grows in the next season as we tighten up our skills and our planning.
Yeah. And I think the map on the left-hand side of the screen really shows the geographic diversity of this group as well. I'm sure there's a couple more little pins that we could add to it since I've made this map, but it really shows the span of this working group, and it's not just centralized in one area. We're really talking across Ontario and having that conversation in the diversity that is Ontario. Okay. Okay, so some key areas of focus that we try to accomplish within the working group. So the funding that we have is for 5 years, and it's really broken down into 6 areas. We want to build that network and community throughout Ontario, continue that conversation. We want to build a website that's used to build the network and really talk with our communications of it as well. And then we want to focus on applied research. So while we do have some funding set aside for applied research, we really want to make sure it's focused on Canadian companies funding um, research proposals that apply to Ontario. We also focus on mentorship for Ontario startups. In the startup phase, there's a lot of challenges, and we have a lot of expertise in this group, and we want to focus on how can we help build up those startups so they are successful. And then we also want to focus on our long-term sustainability. What does this working group looks like in the next 5, 10 years as well? And then the last one, we focus a lot of time on doing demonstrations and events throughout the year as well. So those are the 6 key areas of focus that we try to pull together. Okay, back over to you, Dan.
Yeah, so there are lots of ways to get involved. I mean, there's our just coming and participating, listening in on these weekly meetings is the most readily accessible way, as well as, meeting us at some of the events that we might be attending and talking to us face to face. But along with that, some other ways that you can be involved. You can volunteer to participate on one of our subcommittees. We have a few different ones for focusing on data and validation. We have a demo day for helping to plan, or sorry, we have a subcommittee for helping to plan our demo days. We have a committee that looks over the different research proposals that we get to help decide which ones we should put our focus into, as well as a mentorship subcommittee to help sort of guide smaller startup companies as they grow and grow. If you'd like to get a little more involved, you can speak at our weekly meetings. We have a different speaker every single week, which we're very, proud and happy that we've been able to keep that great content coming. So if that's something that you would like to participate in by speaking, please let us know. Or if you have anyone think you would suggest as a good speaker or you'd like to hear speak, let us know that as well, and we can always reach out and see what we can set up. We're always looking for new people to get involved. Um, in terms of employment, you can post an ag or robotics job. If you know of a work opportunity, send it our way. We can throw it up on the job board on our website. And we can mention it at the weekly meetings here just to help, spread the word, get the word out. Alternatively, it works both ways. If you are someone who is looking for an opportunity, check our website, come into the chat here, let people know sort of what you're looking for, and it's just a great ecosystem to get connected and hear about opportunities you might not otherwise. And the last way is by hosting a field trial. If you have land and you're looking for a robotic solution, or you just want to be able to help the ecosystem and let people do some testing on some land that you've got, let us know. We're happy to connect. That's what we're here for. We're happy to connect you to the right people or the right people to you in order to keep things moving.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Okay, next we'll talk a little bit about the research that we supported over the last year. So we focused on 5 projects. The first one being the asparagus harvest collaboration with Harvest Corp. So this project really focused on completing navigation trials under real harvesting conditions. So the project focused on determining whether commercially available components, such as vision cameras, radars, softwares, could be successfully integrated into a robot to accelerate the development of future crop applications. Then the next one that we focused on was alternative weed control and permanent plantings. So permanent plantings have a little bit more challenges compared to temporary ones. So this research focused on providing Ontario growers with some practical insights into the feasibility of integrating the Neo TED autonomous robot into commercially operations. So by collecting data related to efficiency, cost effectiveness, real world usability, the study really was to aim to support informed decision making and to facilitate the adoption of those robotics within the agriculture ecosystem. The next one that we focused on was the image detection models with Vivid Machines. So they're an Ontario-based ag tech company that builds sensors to track and monitor orchard and vineyard crops. So again, the Naot head was used to pair with their Vivid technology to look for different things like whether it's predicting yield or detecting disease. The fourth one we focused on was the Simcoe research project. So using a Oz robot, the team was able to successfully plant 500 pounds of squash and then transition into spraying and weeding autonomously. So the pilot was focusing on demonstrating the power of precision robots on high value crops using a smaller acreage farm. So really it was to deliver, is it being efficient? Is it scalable for Ontario growers? And then the fifth one is on a vehicle mounted sensor system that automates tree inventory in nursery environments. So it used a dual stereo camera, an RTK enabled GPS to scan tree rows and measure individual tree heights. So the data was processed on board and uploaded in real time, which really was one of the focus of the project. But overall, the tree track project was to reduce the need for manual measuring, improve inventory accuracy in the tree systems. So we're not going to go fully into the results of the research projects. Hopefully in the next 2 months, we'll have those companies come back, present to this group, present their findings as well. So I'll leave the results to those companies to share. But that was just a little bit of kind of a preview of what we did over the last year in terms of research. And then for the next growing season, we'll be announcing who was which research proposals we'll be supporting over the next growing season as well. So stay tuned for that when we announce that in late February, early March. So I'll hand it back over to Dan to go over the events where we attended in the last growing season.
Yeah, absolutely. So here you can just see, some pictures from some of the various events that we went to. Some were, industry and grower focused. Some were focused on students and younger generations. But we're really just trying to do our best to reach as many different folks as we can. If you head to the next slide, please, Ashley. It was a busy year, as mentioned a little bit earlier in the presentation, between ourselves and some partner companies who represented us at some different events. We were able to attend 22 different events over the last season, which we are very happy about. We'd like to keep that momentum going. Some of the events here, we have decided we won't participate in this year. Some we will be going year after year. And we're also looking for new events that take place this year to reach out to. Next week we'll be at the Northern Ontario Ag Conference, which we haven't been to before. We had intended to go the previous year, but it got canceled for the year. So we're excited to hit some more northern Ontario areas that we haven't been able to reach quite as easily yet. So we're really looking forward to that. There's a lot of events here. could go, one by one, but I feel like that would be a not a great use of time. So yeah, just we're really happy. Our demo days um, have been great. All these events we've attended have been excellent. We've been so fortunate to meet so many of you, so many people who aren't members of the group yet, and we're really fortunate to have the chance to be able to attend all these different events and try to grow this ecosystem that we've got here.
Yeah, I'll just add on to that, Dan. We still have a couple that you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen here. So, for example, the Northern Ontario Egg Conference, Ontario Fruit and Veg, London's Farm Show, our own Egg Robotics Summit, or even the Egg Forum in Bedford as well. So if you see us at those events, come say hi. We would love to meet everybody in person as well, as much as possible. Or if there's not an event that you see or that you think might be a good fit for us to attend, send Dan or myself a message. We're happy to look into other events and see what we aren't aware of as well. So feel free to share events that you're going to as well, because we love to hear everybody's successes, everybody's events, what they thought about them as well. So if you have thoughts you want to share, shoot us an email, and then we're happy to have that conversation.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ashley.
Yeah. And that just leads into our own event. So the Canadian Ag Robotics and AI Summit is coming up in just over 2 months on March 26th here at the Western Fair at the Grove. We have a great list of speakers that we've been working with Joe and Chuck on. Jim Beretta will be our keynote speaker. So if you scan that QR code, it should lead to our ticket website. So feel free to go ahead and register for it. It's a full day event, including lunch and as well as networking. So more to come on that. If you go onto our website, you'll see a little bit more about the speakers, their bios, our agenda as well. But registration is open, so we do encourage everybody to attend, share it with your network as well. We're very excited to host this for the first time. Okay, and then that leads into kind of the end of our presentation. So we wanted to also leave with this group with to think about what do you enjoy about the working group? Is there anything that you don't enjoy, or how can we improve to serve the ecosystem better? So if you have any feedback, we would love to hear it. So you can send the Ag Robotics Working Group an email. It's at the bottom of the screen here with any feedback that you have. Dan and myself would be happy to have a conversation. We always want to improve and provide this group and the ecosystem better opportunities to help overcome some challenges or improve the conversation as well. So if you have any thoughts, definitely share them with us, positive or criticism. We can take that as well. Everything I think is important to have feedback to improve what we're doing here. So next we'll just leave it open to some questions. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so I can see everybody's faces again. But we'll leave this open for any questions anybody has, and we can go through that.
Don't all jump at once. Doesn't all have to be specifically a question either. Any thoughts or comments?
David, I saw you come off
David?
mute.
Um, well, you might want to highlight the few events that are don't miss, must be, must attend events for people that are, in this space that, want to be more competitive. I mean, there are a lot of events, and of course, many of them are are nice to go to when you have time, and they've got lots of information. But there certainly are some that are you do not want to miss this event. So you might, for our new members, you might want to highlight those.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely I think our selfish opinion would be don't miss our summit. We have, like I said, a great list of speakers lined up as well, and opportunities to hear from various viewpoints. Um, Chuck or Joe, you're a little bit more familiar with events. Is there any, in your opinion, that we should highlight as um, don't miss events? Just because I'm a little bit newer to the industry.
I think everyone has to kind of pick what's important to them, and kind of related to their own development. It depends on who you're trying to reach and what you're trying to do. If you're trying to get yourself in front of farmers and that kind of thing, then obviously like the fruit and veg convention that's something that you should go to. Our demo days in the summertime when the machines are actually out in the field. We've had great farmer attendance, especially at Simcoe, and and that kind of stuff. If you're looking for technology related, even this meeting every week, part of that is just trying to figure out. Uh, Part of that is trying to figure out, how we all fit together. There's a real. Sometimes you just don't know. When you might need somebody, and everybody that joins these calls, everybody that's part of this group has their own areas of expertise and their own specialties and connections and this kind of stuff. And part of that is, I think, one of the things I'd like to see some more of on these calls is just, engage, trying to, get people engaged, and so that it's not just the same me talking all the time or whatever. So
Perfect. Thanks. Yeah, I think that's a great call out. We love to hear more from people who might not always speak on the call as well. So we're hearing various different opinions as well. So don't be shy to turn on your cameras and ask questions, whether it's in the chat or with on video as well. We love to hear from this group. We want to know what your challenges are. We want to know what your successes are. To kind of really help build this ecosystem. We can't do it with just a select few people. We need to hear from everybody. So we want everybody to be engaged and happy with what they're hearing in this group too.
Ashley,
Yeah, go ahead.
so I was really impressed with your report card, and I do think that that's something that we as Canadians often don't do enough of. So I'm kind of blown away here, going, wow, these guys are really serious and they've got it going on. So I was really impressed there, and I don't think you should stop. Right, I think that maybe it's going to be part of your reach out to politicians and funders and people in the robotics industries, and maybe some stuff on LinkedIn. But I'll reach out after this call and we can chat a little bit more about how I might be able to help, or how I may be able to make some connections. So good on you. That's a great slide. We can maybe start
Perfect.
with that slide.
Thank you. I love a by the number slide. I'm a marketing person. That's my background. So I think numbers are very powerful to share, to really show and demonstrate what we're doing as a group as well. Ian, I think you had your hand up first, either you or David.
Yeah, sorry, my camera's not working today, but going back to what Chuck was just saying, and something I believe we tried a while ago that I think we should bring back every, I don't know, 2 months or something like that, is just have a panel of people from the working group to just sort of work, just to sort of engage the group as a whole on a Friday morning in a conversation about a topic that's sort of more general, and that, because the way Chuck put it, my feeling is I'm a government employee. I've been at it for 25 years, but I'm not an expert. I bring expertise to the equation. And the expertness comes from bringing a bunch of people with different experiences and expertise
Mm.
together. And that's where the real strength of what we're trying to do with the working group is. And so let's have some panels and get some more discussion going, which may help us know what directions as a total group we should be taking and such.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. That's something that Dan and I will talk about how we can focus on more panels as opposed to just one-off speakers as well. Because I agree, like when you go to a conference and you have panels, that's really where the interaction is, having different viewpoints, having more than just one person speak as well. So we can definitely look at bringing more panels into this group. David?
All right. Yeah, I agree completely with what Ian's saying. There's a momentum to this whole idea of groupthink, and the more people engage, turn their cameras on, talk, interact, the more we're going to bond and the more we're going to get done. So that whole engagement thing, I think, is critical. Don't be afraid to talk. Once you've talked a bit, been a fool like me, you're like, doesn't matter anymore. Just get out there and start talking. So, I really do think that we need to stop listening and we need to start interacting more to move the needle faster. But the other thing is, and Ian touched on this too, about, having panel discussions, is the majority of these meetings have been information distribution. A person with a point of view saying, this is what we're doing as a company. So that's kind of like an advertising model. Everybody listens, the information goes out. What we need to do is start chewing the fat and using ideas and working them and discussing them. And so I think some unstructured meetings, maybe not at this time, maybe once a month, where people who want to get into maybe the techie weeds want to say, hey, let's talk about, and the topic is going to be optimizing computing power for vision systems, if you want to get really techie. Or it might be, how do we find funding for that first valley of death? Because there's several valleys of death, whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but essentially it's a discussion. It's a group discussion as opposed to let's sit, have our cameras off and listen. Which is great because I learn a lot. I'm an engineer. I work at the university. I got a lot of knowledge, but I'm not on the ground floor manufacturing stuff. And so, I think we need to bring various people together to peer help each other, but also to get into the weeds, because we all kind of go back to our own environment and then we work in isolation. Let's help each other, because I'm scared of the big guy down south, and we need to do this quickly because speed is important. And if we don't get traction, and Ian and I have had a discussion about this, if we don't get traction and maintain our momentum, we could lose our momentum, and then this group is not going to be as effective. So get involved, pull together. Let's talk about maybe some deeper topics. So we're not just listening, we're actually sharing ideas. I mean, we don't have to share confidential trade secrets and stuff. But this is a huge opportunity, I think, in terms of cooperation and creating experts by bringing common minds together. And as a group, we will be good and we will be experts.
Perfect. Thanks. I think Eric, you had your hand up next.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I certainly don't have any critical feedback. I'm brand new to this. So far, it just seems like an incredible resource, a little overwhelming. I'm sure I'll find its limits as things go on. I do have a question, though. I'm going to try to make sure that at least a team member comes every week. And if there's ever weeks that we miss, is there any resource that kind of distributes like a summary of the meeting, a report back, any of the funding links? Does that thing already exist? And if, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of the funding links are in the agenda that we send out every week. But we also record our meetings and then we post them usually within a couple of weeks. I think Dan, you said about within 4 weeks we try to aim for as well. So we do have recordings that is shared and posted on our website as well. So if you miss a meeting, don't worry, we have it recorded and you can look back as well. Or if you're like, oh, I had a great idea. And I know we talked about this, 2 months ago. You can look on our recordings as well to like kind of jog your memory or like find a contact that was talked about during a meeting too. Or you can just reach out to Dan or myself too. We love to connect people within the group. So there's lots of resources to share out there.
I posted the link in the chat to the meetings page on our website. I will note it is a little bit behind. They're posted to November with the holidays and being gone and stuff. I fell behind a little bit on that, but there'll be a few more that get posted this afternoon to catch up a little bit. So that's what they'll be.
Yeah. Chuck, I think you had your hand up next.
Yeah, I think I wanted there's some some commentary that David made about getting some action done, but there's also there's a comment in the chat about subgroups and this kind of stuff. And there's nothing is stopping us from doing subgroups, and that's how the action happens. And really, as a group here, sometimes there's a tendency to say, are we picking winners and losers? And honestly, we need to start saying we think this is going to be a project that will be a winning project, and we need to advance it, whatever that outcome might be. And so if there's someone in this group that says, here's a tech, here's a company, here's something that we want to try to encourage, that's the whole point of these discussions, is to say, we have enough producers that want to do this. We should do whatever we can do to support it, whatever that looks like. And whether that's putting funding together, whether that's doing a demo event, whatever that looks like. I'm not sitting here saying that I know that answer. And then what we do, step two, once this group sort of picks that, then a subcommittee can be formed that advances that and reports back. So I think that's absolutely what this is supposed to do. And it's all about engagement and action. And we have a great opportunity right now to advance our Canadian industry. Because of pullbacks that are happening and global uncertainty. It's I'm not a sports person, but we're kind of like in it. We've got a power play advantage here, and let's use it.
Perfect. Matt, I think you were next.
Okay. I think maybe just on the format, the only thing I can suggest that might be useful is having blackout dates for certain crops. So if we had an annual calendar and it was like, don't do anything for tree crops in September or October, because the growers are not available and the startups that are helping the growers are not available. But September, October might be a great time for vegetable crops, for instance. So I think if we just understood that through the 12-month calendar and tried to map content for when the growers and the service those growers can match, I think it's already part of the effort. And maybe it already exists, but I don't know if there's this master map of here's all the crops grown in Ontario and here's the blackout dates for the crops. And there's
no, that's no, that's a great call out. And that's something that we want to get better at as well, is being a little more thematic with our speakers and what we're presenting as well. So I'm scribbling down some notes as everybody's talking as well. So that's definitely a great takeaway. Jim?
Sorry, I didn't know about. Oh, can you hear me? Sorry, I didn't know about the hand raising thing. So it took me a minute to find that little icon. I wanted to tell the group something that I have done in Cambridge when I lived there for 25 years. The grandchildren dragged us into London, where we live now, is I set up a luncheon with people in the robotics and automation industry in Cambridge. It was called ADMEN, the Advanced Manufacturing Engineering Network. And so we have a lunch every 3 or 4 months. We just get together. And Ashley, if you're ever interested, or Dan or whomever, would love to chat with me a little bit about that. It's kind of really interesting, and it's all about this engagement. And I can tell you some of the ins and outs of that. And now I'll try to find out how I can lower my hand.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that sounds great. I'll reach out to you after today, and we'll chat some more about that. Perfect. I think that's all the raised hands. Dan, is there anything in the chat? I think John Nicholas had an idea. John, I don't know if you're still on. If you had a question, I'm just scrolling up, sorry.
Yeah, John was looking for some recommendations on some robotic development and contract manufacturing firms. Ian has Ian Butcher
Perfect.
connected with him, so they're gonna chat offline.
Great.
Yeah, anyone else too. We're looking for shops or fabrication shops that could help on some development on a custom arm, and also anyone has experience with the gantry robotic system. Open to that too, and some small fabrication we also need. So we're outsourcing some components of our operations to some robotic shops, and we're open to that.
I think Eric, you raised your hand.
Just a quick question on the scale of that fabrication. So are you talking like custom like research development stuff, or you want to be like producing a bunch of prototypes, or you want to be scaling? Like what I know lots of small machine shops. I wonder if they'll be a fit, but they might be too small for your purposes.
No, that would be fine. We're looking for a small shop.
Okay.
We have small projects, we're not looking for rolling out manufacturing. We're looking to we're more in the development stage of trying to figure some things out, and we can't do it all ourselves.
Could I pass your number to my contacts if they've got the
Sure.
interest?
You
Yeah.
send it. You have my email address there and my phone number in the chat section. You can send me something.
Thanks.
Ian, you also had your hand up?
So I didn't know when to bring this up, but I was at an interesting meeting yesterday, and it was the research committee of GFO with the field crop related OMAFRA staff and University of Guelph academics. And we were trying to scope out on 3 topics: nitrogen management, weed management, and disease management, where we needed to go with research in the next sort of number of years. And the weed management one is the one I need the most help with from the group as a whole. It was actually not depressing, but it was a bit anxiety creating, because there's just huge concerns in that group of the impact of herbicide resistance and the impact that will have on production systems and that. And we looked at England losing access to things like Roundup and how that has changed agriculture there. And even if we don't lose Roundup here, the resistance thing. And we want to talk about integrated weed management, which is sort of the catch-all for everything. And the problem is that everybody falls back to herbicides so quickly because, and I spent 20 years in that industry before coming to government, the ROI relative to the efficiency and the price per acre of a herbicide program is just way and above anything else that's out there. In terms of value for dollars that a producer spends. We have lots of things that can happen in robotics that we've been exploring and stuff, but the problem is if we had to rely on robotics completely, the speed of those things going across, having to take out every single weed instead of just the resistant weeds, it's a whole other level of thinking. And those groups are not there in their heads yet, right? We're all bemoaning the fact that there's not new active ingredients coming down the pipeline that are going to save us from this eventuality of resistance and stuff. And so, we need to think about what's our role as a working group and getting out there and talking to groups and bringing them out to events and stuff to see that there are some solutions, and they absolutely are not perfect. And I love the robotic stuff, but I haven't seen a robotic solution yet that could do all of the weed control out in a farm field at a speed that we would need for large acre grain farming type of thing, right? And maybe I'm missing something, but we need more discussion on that, I think, and what can we as the working group do to actively engage those people and get them out and seeing and changing the mindset. Same thing on the nitrogen. We're talking about the Maze Runner and the 360 Rain, and their heads are not there because they've never sort of thought about it that way, right? They think about nitrogen application happening in a earlier corn crop staging and stuff, and so it's this mindset change that we need to get them into a zone of excitement or something. I'm going to shut up now, but I think you get my drift.
Well, I think Ian, this is why I got involved in this right from day one. This is like and it's funny how that has not changed. So I do have to sign off. So everybody have a good week. Great discussion.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chuck. Yes, I guess it is at the end of our time for today. So everybody, thank you very much for the conversation, for your feedback, your comments. We both, I believe, have been taking notes on them. So we'll reconvene and figure out how we can. It might not be perfect at first, but we'll get there. We want to make sure that this group is bringing the right value to the right people. So we truly do appreciate all your feedback. Everybody have a great weekend. And we'll see you next Friday. I will not be here myself. I'll be at the Northern Ontario Ag Conference, so Ashley will be hosting the meeting next week in my absence.
I'll be with you, Dan, up there.
Excellent. Perfect. Looking forward to seeing Ian. All
Yeah,
right.
I'll be
Take
there
care.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks,
Thanks,
Ashley.
See you guys
everybody.
up there. Thank you.
Great meeting.
Awesome, Kate.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you
Bye.
there.
Bye.
See you, everybody.